Okay, welcome back to another segment of our AutoCAD design series, and this will be our final video tutorial for the 2D section, right? By the time we'll be meeting next, then we'll be going further into the 3D aspect of design using AutoCAD. But this is just the final aspect for our 2D design class. Okay, and now we'll just be taking a quick review of what we've done so far on AutoCAD 2018. Now, the first thing we learned was that we learned how to set our interface, right? Our AutoCAD interface, the tools we'll be needing, we learned how to use the tools. And no, AutoCAD is very versatile. There are still a lot of functions that it can do. It has a lot of functions that we don't know yet, and it has lots of functions that we cannot talk about everything completely during the course of the design, right? And there are still lots of functions it has that we don't know yet. So it's just left for you to just go and do research, further research by yourself individually, right? I also got to this level by doing the research, watching some YouTube videos and everything like that. So it's just left for you to go ahead and improve yourself. But as a beginner, if you are able to do this, then you are not a small person anymore. You are good to go to make any design of your choice. Okay, so the first thing we learned was how to set our interface right. Then we proceed and then we set our unit and the limits. Is that also? Then we went ahead to start by creating our layer. Our layers for each of the components we'll be creating, we'll be designing, right? And then we also proceeded in creating our floor plan, then the roof plan, the elevations, then the sections, right? And then we also learned how to set our layout or the title blocks and then plotting, either single plotting or batch plotting, right? Now there are some little tricks that I was during the course of the study that I know that though there is no time for me to explain. So I can just go ahead and do that now and have a quick review of everything we've done. Now let's click on our layer properties. The first of all, let's click on our layer properties. And now let's assume, okay, you've opened this, right? Instead of you coming back here to click it and change anything and create another layer, you can just collapse it, allow it to collapse here and fix it to one end of your screen, either here or the other end. So you can just collapse it there. Let's collapse it and you can continue your work. So anytime you're in need of creating a new layer, you can just hover over it here and then it will open up, right? It will open up and then you can quickly edit anything you want to edit. So that's just it. Another thing is, okay, now that you've brought out your tools and your workspace and everything, there are some times that you might make mistake. Maybe you want to click on the line or the erase tool and just mistakenly drag the something out. It will disfigure what you are working with, right? It will disfigure everything. So there is a way you can lock it down, right? So it will not disturb you while you're working. And by doing that, you can just go ahead and right click, like as if you want to bring out another tool section and just come down here to the last part here. Now you're seeing lock location, then you can come here and all and then lock everything. So no matter how it is being dragged, it will not be able to move, right? So at least you rest assured that okay, there is no accidentally moving the object. Here also the same thing, it will not be able to be edited. So it is just locked like that, right? So and you are good to go. And then another thing about AutoCAD trick is that it has its own inbuilt calculator, right? So let's just go ahead and say calculator, enter. It will display its own calculator. Maybe you want to kind of do a quick calculation and you don't want to close the AutoCAD page without wasting much time, you can just go ahead and type calc and then you'll be having it. Even has the scientific part, right? And maybe if you want to convert your unit, it has it there also, and then the variable. So you can just quickly make your fast and simple calculations, right? That's another one. And there's another one I was doing since that, especially when we were dealing with the roof, that there were double lines overlapping each other, right? And I'm selecting, let's assume there is another line overlapping here, right? There's another line overlapping this here, okay? And now I want to select, okay, okay, this is what I was talking about, right? Let me differentiate them. Let's give this a blue color, for example. Okay, now I'm having a blue color overlapping the white color, right? Now I want to select the white color to work on separately. So once I select it, we don't know which one we are selecting, either the blue or the white. So the work of this is to indicate which part we are actually selecting. Is it the blue line which is overlapping, and or the white line which is below the blue line, right? So you can come here, if I'm selecting this, then I'm selecting the blue line, then it will select out the blue line, leaving the white line alone, right? And if I select the white line, it will select only the white line, leaving the blue line alone. And that is the work of this selection cycling here. You know, I said it before, there are some tools that we need to bring out here that I went ahead here and brought it out. So which is this selection cycling, right? It makes your work easier by making sure of the object you are selecting, right? So which is this selection cycling. If I switch it off now, it has gone, right? Then let's bring this back. It is back here. So if I should switch it off here also, it will not going to work. But let's switch it on so it will make our work. We will definitely use it very well. Maybe when we start our 3D lessons. And there's another thing we can do again, that okay, let's select the line. Now I want, you see that this blue line is overlapping the white line. Now I want the white line to come forward. So the blue line will be behind the white line. I can just do that by selecting the line and then coming here to draw order, and then I'll send the blue line to the back, send it to the back. Now it's the blue line is still there, right? But now it has gone to the back of the white line. Okay. Now we can do the same thing here also, the draw order, and then bring it back. So that's just it. That's just some of the tricks that you can do with AutoCAD. Okay. And then what else? Now if you should look at this, I think I've explained all this earlier. This also, let's say I'm typing and I'm giving a command. Let me type calc, for example. As I was typing calc, do you see it's giving me the full name, and it's typing it on the screen for me so I can be able to pick in an option here, right? And that's the work of this dynamic input. If I should switch it off, let's switch it off, and I'm typing calc, it will not give me that. It will come, instead it will come and write it on the command bar section here, right? It will type it there for me. But in case I switch it on, it will bring it here on the screen for me to make it easier, right? To make it easier. Instead of me now coming down here to the command bar here, to make it easier for me to select. And then here we are having the auto and the polar, right? The auto and the polar, especially the auto, if I switch it on, is making sure I'm drawing a straight line either vertically or horizontally, right? It cannot be used to draw a diagonal line, or maybe a line at an angle, right? That's the work of an auto. And if I switch on my polar, then I can be able to draw any line, either be it vertical, horizontal, diagonal line. And for the diagonal lines, you can even come ahead and tie and give it the angle you want by using shift art, right? Shift art, just like when we were doing our roof, we gave it shift art, right? Give it the distance first, for example, and then shift less than sign to give it the bearing, which is the degree. And you can also come here and select the degrees you want, the various degrees you want. You can select them, right? So it will indicate them for you. And then we are having the O snap here. The O snap. Let's draw a line. This is our line. Now let's assume we want to draw another line starting from the end point here. You see that it is showing us a green box indicating our end point, right? That's the work of the O snap. And also if you come to the middle here, to be showing us our midpoint. But let's assume I switched it off now and I want to draw a line here. See that the box has gone. No matter the kind of line I'm drawing, thinking is joining is not joining. Because let's assume this is the end point, right? And let's draw a line. Now let's zoom in. Do you see that it's not joining at the end here? It's not joining, right? So the O snap will make sure our works are joining perfectly, be it the endpoint or the midpoint. Now this is my endpoint here, right? So that's the work of the O snap. And we can go ahead here on the drop down button here to select the point we want it to be indicating for us. Maybe you are dealing with a circle, then you can select it, this quadrant. You can mark this quadrant to show you each of the quadrants of the circle, right? So that's that on the O snap. And this line weight, right? Line weight, if you switch it off, all our line thickness that we give in the layer, when we are creating our layer, it will go off. But if you switch it on, you see that are coming back. Let me zoom this part very well so you see it. Now let me switch it off again. See that all the line thickness have gone, right? But let's bring this back and they will surely come back. That's the work of the line weight. No matter the thickness you give to your work, maybe to your layer, and you do not switch on the line weight, it will still not show the thickness until you switch it on, right? Okay, and that is for that online weight, right? And then we have the selection cycling. We have the snap cursor to 3D. This one is used for 3D, basically for 3D. If you want to use this old snap for 3D, maybe edge, just snap for your edge and all those points on your 3D points, or maybe we have the edge, we have the corners and everything like that, right? And here we are having snap UCS, though I don't know the work for that. Okay, dynamic UCS. Okay. Sorry. We also use this during our 3D. We'll come to that when we are dealing with 3D. I remember. We'll come back to that when we are doing 3D. If I should explain here, it will not be understood. So let's get our 3D side and then we'll see that. Then here also is kind of similar to this also. When doing our 3D also is kind of similar, but I don't usually use it. And then the rest here now is showing us the scale we are working with. It should always be left in 1:1, right? Our drawing should always be left in 1:1. And here maybe for us to change from 2D to 3D, either basic or modeling, but I usually go with modeling. Basic is for those that okay, maybe are just learning and everything, but modeling is kind of more advanced than basic, but still similar. That's still the same thing. So and you can come here and save your change your workspace setting. It's still the same thing, maybe to 3D basic, 3D modeling, or 3D and everything. You change your settings, it's still the same thing. And then if you want it to be displaying the workspace you are working on currently, like this is our 2D drafting and annotation, you come to display workspace label. And if I switch it off, it will go. But we are having it here, right? We are still having it here, workspace settings. You can just come ahead and switch it on back. It will show it in full, right? So that's just majorly, and this is where you plot, where maybe when you are plotting it will indicate it here for you, right? So that's just all on AutoCAD 2D, right? Though as I said earlier, there are still a lot of functions that we don't know yet in AutoCAD unless you do your research, your personal research, and there are lots that we can't talk about, right, due to time. So this will bring us to the end of our 2D aspect of our AutoCAD, and probably the next time we'll be meeting for our 3D by God's grace. So goodbye, and I thank you all for attending and listening. Thank you.